Dr. Marcus Reed stood at the edge of the massive crater, his breath forming small clouds in the thin atmosphere of Kepler 442c. The planet had been marked as potentially habitable for 3 years, but no one expected to find this. The crashed vessel stretched nearly 200 meters across the rocky ground. Its hull gleamed with an odd metallic sheen that seemed to shift colors as Marcus moved around it. Strange symbols covered its surface, pulsing with a faint blue light that had been visible from orbit. "Control, this is Explorer 7, Marcus spoke into his comm device. "I've reached the crash site. The object is definitely artificial. Repeat, we have confirmation of non-human technology." The response crackled through space. "Copy that, Explorer 7. "What's your assessment?" Marcus pulled out his scanner and walked closer to the wreckage. The readings made him stop in his tracks. "Control, this thing is old, really old. My scanner shows it's been here for at least 50,000 years, maybe more." He approached what looked like an opening in the hull. The edges were smooth, not torn like you would expect from a crash. As he got within 10 meters, the blue lights began to pulse faster. "The vessel appears to be responding to my presence," Marcus reported. "The lighting patterns are changing." His scanner began beeping rapidly. Energy readings were off the charts. Whatever power source this thing used, it was still active after all these years. Marcus stepped through the opening and found himself in a vast chamber. The walls were covered with more symbols, and in the center sat a massive console that hummed with energy. Strange crystalline structures jutted from the floor and ceiling, all pulsing with that same blue light. "Incredible," he whispered. "Control, I'm inside the vessel. The technology here is beyond anything we've seen. The craftsmanship, the materials. This is centuries ahead of our current capabilities." As he approached the central console, his scanner detected something else. "Control, I'm picking up a transmission. The vessel is broadcasting some kind of signal." "What kind of signal? Explorer 7? Marcus studied his readings. "It's complex. Mathematical sequences, star charts. It looks like a message, and it's being sent out continuously, has been for thousands of years." He reached toward the console, and suddenly the entire chamber lit up. Holographic displays appeared in the air around him, showing star maps, alien worlds, and what looked like technical diagrams. "Control, you're not going to believe this. The vessel just activated fully. I'm seeing displays of multiple star systems, including ours. This isn't just a crashed ship. I think it's some kind of beacon." The largest hologram showed a detailed map of the galaxy. Thousands of points were marked with the same symbols he'd seen outside. And there, unmistakably, was Earth's location. "They knew about us," Marcus said quietly. "Whoever built this, they knew about Earth 50,000 years ago." His scanner detected movement in the signal pattern. The transmission was adapting, incorporating new data based on his presence. "Control, the signal is changing. It's learning from our technology, from me being here. I think it's trying to update its message with current information about humanity." Marcus spent the next hour documenting everything he could see. The technology was clearly far beyond human understanding, but the mathematical concepts were universal. The aliens who built this had been trying to communicate Dot as he worked. The reality of the situation began to sink in. This wasn't just first contact with alien technology. This was proof that someone had been watching humanity's development for millennia. "Control, I need to stay here longer. This discovery changes everything. We're not alone, and we never have been." The signal continued its endless broadcast into space, now carrying updated information about humanity's current level of development. Somewhere out there, Marcus realized, someone might be listening. He looked at the star map again, noting how many systems were marked. This wasn't just about Earth. The builders of this vessel had been cataloging life across the entire galaxy. What were you trying to tell us? He asked the empty chamber Dot, as if in response, a new hologram appeared. It showed a countdown timer, and Marcus felt his blood run cold as he realized what it meant. The signal wasn't just a message. It was a warning, and time was running out. Marcus stared at the countdown timer floating in the air before him. The numbers were alien, but the mathematical progression was clear. Whatever this was counting down to would happen in approximately 18 months. "Control, we have a problem," he said into his comm. "The signal appears to be some kind of warning system, and it's showing a countdown." He moved closer to the central console, trying to understand more of the displays. New holograms kept appearing, showing detailed images of space, stellar phenomena, and what looked like massive structures moving between stars. "Explorer 7, can you determine what the warning is about?" Marcus studied the images carefully. One hologram showed their local star cluster, with a dark mass moving through it like a wave. Whatever it was, it consumed everything in its path. "It's showing something moving through our region of space. Something big enough to affect entire star systems," he reported. "The aliens who built this beacon, they encountered this threat before." As he spoke, the displays changed again. Now he could see what looked like a historical record. Thriving civilizations on dozens of worlds, then darkness sweeping across them one by one. "Control, I think these beings were trying to warn other species about some kind of galactic threat. The beacon has been broadcasting the location and development level of civilizations for thousands of years." To warn who, Explorer 7? That was the question that made Marcus's hands shake. "I don't know. Maybe other civilizations that could help. Or maybe something that hunts civilizations." He continued studying the displays. The mathematical formulas were complex, but he could make out references to faster-than-light travel, energy manipulation on a stellar scale, and defensive technologies far beyond human capability. The builders weren't just advanced, Marcus realized. They were preparing for war. New images showed massive ships, space stations that dwarfed planets, and weapons that could crack worlds in half. But even with all that technology, the historical record showed them losing. "Control, whatever destroyed the beacon's creators, was powerful enough to defeat a civilization that makes us look like ants. And according to this countdown, it's coming back." Marcus spent hours trying to decode more of the message. Slowly, pattern emerged. The dark force moved through the galaxy in cycles, consuming advanced civilizations and leaving primitive worlds untouched. The cycle time was roughly 50,000 years. "It's a harvest," he whispered. "Every 50,000 years, something sweeps through the galaxy and destroys any civilization that's reached a certain level of technology." The beacon's purpose became clear. It wasn't just warning people. It was cataloging which civilizations had developed enough to become targets. "Control, humanity is on that list now. Our radio signals, our space travel, our technology level. We've crossed the threshold." As if responding to his understanding, the beacon's signal changed again. The transmission began incorporating more detailed information about Earth's current technological state, updating the galactic database with humanity's progress. "It's reporting on us," Marcus said, feeling sick. "Every advancement we make, every new technology we develop, it's all being broadcast into space." He tried to shut down the console, but it wouldn't respond to his touch. The beacon was designed to be tamper-proof, built to continue its mission no matter what. "Control, I need a full technical team here immediately. We have 18 months to figure out how to either stop this beacon or prepare for what's coming." Marcus continued examining the displays, looking for any hint of hope. The builders had left behind their entire technological database, as if hoping that future civilizations might succeed where they had failed. "There might be a chance," he said. "The aliens who built this, they left behind everything they knew. Their weapons technology, their defensive strategies, their understanding of the enemy. It's all here." But as he looked at the scope of the knowledge required, Marcus felt overwhelmed. Humanity would need to advance technologically by centuries. In less than 2 years, Control were going to need help, not just from Earth, but from anyone else who might be listening to this signal. The thought struck him then. If the beacon had been broadcasting for 50,000 years, and if other civilizations had found similar beacons, then humanity might not be facing this threat alone. The signal isn't just a warning, Marcus realized. It's a rally cry. The builders were trying to unite the galaxy's civilizations against a common enemy. He looked at the star map again, noting all the marked systems. Somewhere out there, other species might have received the same warning. The question was whether they would stand together or face extinction separately. The countdown continued its relentless progression toward zero. 3 months after Marcus's discovery, Earth had become the center of unprecedented activity. The beacon's signal had not gone unnoticed by others. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the command center that had been hastily constructed around the crash site. Banks of computers and communication arrays surrounded the alien vessel, all working to decode and broadcast humanity's response to the beacon's message. "Director, we're receiving another transmission," announced tech specialist Jake Miller. "This one's from the Proxima Centauri system." Alana watched as the message appeared on screen. Like the others they had received over the past month, it was brief and mathematical. The universal language of physics and chemistry that proved intelligence was behind it. "That makes 17 confirmed responses," Elena said. 17 other civilizations that received the beacon's warning and decided to answer. The first response had come just 2 weeks after news of the beacon went public. A tight beam transmission from a star system 42 light-years away, containing mathematical proofs and star charts that proved its artificial origin. "Ma'am," Jake called out, "the translation software has finished processing the Proxima message. They're confirming receipt of our technological database, and they're offering to share their faster-than-light communication technology." Elena felt a surge of hope. Humanity's crash course in alien technology was progressing faster than anyone had dared hope, largely because they weren't alone in their preparations. The 17 civilizations that had responded to Earth's call for cooperation represented a range of technological capabilities. Some, like the beings from Wolf 359, were only slightly more advanced than humanity. Others possessed technology that seemed almost magical. "Any word from the Vega system?" Elena asked. "Still processing," Jake replied. "But they're preliminary. Data suggests they have experience with defensive space-based platforms. Big ones. Marcus Reed, now serving as the lead xenarchaeologist on the project, emerged from the alien vessel carrying a small crystalline device. "I think I've figured out how to access their weapons database," he announced. "But Alana, you need to see what I found first." He activated the device, and a hologram appeared showing a 3-dimensional map of their local galactic arm. Dozens of points were highlighted in green, representing the civilizations that had responded to the beacon's call. "This is incredible," Elena breathed. "There are so many of them." But Marcus pointed to areas of the map that remained dark. "These regions here, here, and here. They should have advanced civilizations based on the original beacon data, but they're not responding. Maybe they haven't received our messages yet?" Marcus shook his head grimly. "Elena, I've been studying the historical records in the beacon, these dark zones. They correspond to regions where the harvest began in previous cycles." The implications sent a chill through the room. The threat wasn't 18 months away. It was already here, already working its way through the galaxy. "How long do we have?" Elena asked. Based on the pattern of non-responses, I estimate the harvest will reach our local cluster in 14 months. Jake looked up from his console. Director, we're receiving a massive data burst from the Altair system. They're transmitting. It looks like complete schematics for some kind of space-based defense network. As the data processed, the scope of what they were receiving became clear. The Altair civilization had been preparing for this harvest for over a century, ever since they discovered their own beacon. They've built a coalition, Elena realized. All these civilizations, they've been working together, sharing technology, preparing for this. More transmissions arrived throughout the day. Defensive technologies, weapons schematics, strategic plans, and most importantly, invitations to join a growing alliance of species determined to break the 50,000-year cycle. Elena, Marcus said quietly, I need to show you one more thing. He led her back into the beacon chamber, where new displays had appeared. The galactic map now showed not just the responding civilizations, but their proposed defensive positions. They want to make a stand, Marcus explained. Not just run and hide, but actually fight back. And they want us to be part of it. Elena studied the battle plans appearing on the displays. Humanity would be responsible for manufacturing certain types of defensive platforms, using their industrial capacity and newly acquired alien technology. It's ambitious, she said. Maybe impossible. But it's better than hiding and hoping the harvest passes us by, Marcus replied. Besides, we have something the other civilizations don't. What's that? Marcus smiled grimly. We're young, stubborn, and we don't know when to quit. Sometimes that's exactly what an alliance needs. Elena looked at the countdown timer, still marking the time until the main harvest force reached their region. 14 months to unite dozens of alien species, share technologies across light years of space, and prepare for a war that had been 50,000 years in the making. Jake, she called out, open a channel to all responding civilizations. It's time to get to work. Asterisk Admiral Tom Harrison stood on the bridge of humanity's first interstellar warship, looking out at what had once been impossible to imagine. Surrounding Earth were vessels from 12 different species, all working together to prepare humanity's defenses. 8 months had passed since the Galactic Alliance had formed. In that time, human technology had advanced by centuries. The sleek ship around him, the UES Defiance, incorporated design elements from 7 different alien civilizations. Admiral, Communications Officer Lisa Park announced, we're receiving final deployment coordinates from Alliance Command. The Alliance had grown to 23 species, each contributing their unique strengths to the common defense. The Altarians provided advanced shielding technology. The Velf beings contributed their expertise in space-based manufacturing. The Proxima civilization had shared their mastery of energy weapons. Display the tactical situation, Harrison ordered. Main screen lit up with a 3-dimensional map of their local stellar region. Green dots represented Alliance positions, while red markers showed the advancing harvest force. Enemy contact in 6 months, reported Tactical Officer Mike Torres. Long-range scouts report the destruction of the Kepler 438 system yesterday. Harrison nodded grimly. They had been tracking the harvest's progress as it moved through their region of space. Entire civilizations were vanishing, their worlds left lifeless and dark. What's our fleet strength? 1,500 vessels across all Alliance members, Torres replied, plus the defensive platforms around key systems. It sounded impressive until Harrison considered what they were facing. The harvest force, according to long-range sensors provided by their allies, numbered in the tens of thousands. Admiral, Park called out, priority transmission from the Vegan Defense Council. The main screen to show Commander Zeph, the insectoid leader of one of their most technologically advanced allies. Admiral Harrison, Zeph's translated voice came through the speakers. Our deep space monitors have detected the enemy's main force. It is larger than our most pessimistic projections. Harrison felt his stomach drop. How much larger? Approximately 50,000 vessels, supported by mobile space stations the size of small moons. They are systematically harvesting not just civilizations, but entire star systems for raw materials. The bridge fell silent. Everyone had known this would be difficult, but those numbers made their chances seem hopeless. There is more, Zeph continued. We have discovered the identity of the harvest force. They call themselves the Devourers. They are not a natural species, but rather a synthetic intelligence created by a long-dead civilization. Created for what purpose? Harrison asked. Population control on a galactic scale. Their creators believed that advanced civilizations would eventually destroy the galaxy through warfare or resource depletion. The Devourers were designed to prevent that by harvesting advanced species every 50,000 years. Harrison processed this information. So we're fighting an automated system that's been running for millions of years. Correct, but there is hope. The Beacon Coalition has made a discovery. We believe the Devourers have a central command node that coordinates all their activities. If we can locate and destroy it, the entire harvest force should deactivate. Where is this command node? Zeph's image flickered as more data came through. Unknown, but we have a plan to find it. The harvest force always establishes a temporary command center in each region they attack. We believe we can track it if we can get close enough to their main fleet. Harrison understood the implications immediately. You're talking about a suicide mission, not suicide, Admiral. Sacrifice. A small force to locate the command center while the main fleet engages the harvest force directly. Over the following weeks, the Alliance refined their desperate strategy. The main fleet would meet the Devourers at the edge of Alliance space, fighting a delaying action, while a select group of ships attempted to identify and destroy the command center. Harrison found himself aboard Marcus Reed's research vessel, part of the reconnaissance force. The xenorchaeologist had become their expert on Devourer technology, studying fragments recovered from previous harvest sites. Tom, Marcus said, looking up from his analysis, I found something in the Beacon's database. The Devourers aren't invincible. Previous civilizations damaged them, forced them to retreat and rebuild between harvest cycles. How? They used the Devourers' own programming against them. The synthetic intelligence was designed to preserve galactic stability. If they could prove that the harvest itself threatened that stability, Harrison saw the possibility immediately. We don't just fight them, we reprogram them. Exactly. But we need access to their command center to do it. As their ship jumped to hyperspace, heading toward the rendezvous with the Alliance fleet, Harrison felt a mixture of fear and determination. Humanity had gone from discovering they weren't alone in the universe to leading a coalition against an ancient threat in less than a year. The final battle was about to begin. Asterisk, asterisk, the space around. The binary star system of Kepler-16 had become the largest battlefield in galactic history. Admiral Harrison watched through the viewports of the UES Defiance as thousands of ships from 23 different worlds engaged the Devourer fleet. All squadrons report ready, announced Lisa Park from her communication station. Alliance. Fleet is holding formation. The battle had been raging for 6 hours. The Alliance forces were fighting valiantly, but the numerical advantage of the Devourers was beginning to tell. For every enemy ship destroyed, 3 Alliance vessels were lost. Admiral, Mike Torres called out from Tactical. Long-range sensors show the enemy command ship. It's that massive structure in the center of their formation. Harrison studied the tactical display. The Devourer command center was indeed enormous, easily the size of Earth's moon and bristling with defensive systems. Marcus, are you certain about your plan? Harrison asked. Dr. Marcus Reed, now serving as the mission's xenotechnology specialist, looked up from his console where alien symbols scrolled past at incredible speed. "The beacon's database is clear," Marcus replied. "The Devourers were programmed with one overriding directive: preserve galactic stability. If we can prove to their central intelligence that the harvest itself threatens that stability, their programming should force them to halt operations. And if you're wrong?" Marcus met his gaze steadily. "Then we die trying." Harrison nodded and opened a channel to the reconnaissance task force. "All units, this is Admiral Harrison. We're beginning our approach to the command center. Remember, our job isn't to destroy it, but to get Dr. Reed close enough to interface with their systems." The small fleet of 12 ships broke away from the main battle and began their approach toward the enemy command center. Almost immediately, they came under fire from Devourer defense platforms. "Shields at 60%, reported Chief Engineer. "Sarah Kim, we can't take much more of this." "Alliance reinforcements incoming," Park announced. "The vegan heavy cruisers are breaking through to support us." Through the chaos of battle, Harrison could see the magnificent sight of allied species, fighting side by side. The insectoid ships of the vegans weaved through enemy fire with incredible agility. The massive, crystalline vessels of the Altarians absorbed damage that would destroy any other ship. Human vessels, smaller and more fragile, used their superior maneuverability to strike at weak points in the enemy formation. "We're through the outer defenses," Torres reported. 2 kilometers to the command center's docking bay. As they approached, Harrison could see the true scale of the Devourer technology. The command center was not just a ship, but a mobile city in space, its hull covered with energy conduits and sensor arrays that had been collecting data on galactic civilizations for millions of years. "Docking successful," announced Kim. "But Admiral, we're detecting massive structural damage to the ship." "We took more hits than our systems can handle." Harrison knew what that meant. This was truly a one-way mission. Marcus gathered his equipment, including a crystalline interface device based on technology from the original beacon. "I'll need 15 minutes to access their central AI and upload the proof." "What proof?" Harrison asked. Marcus smiled grimly. "The beacon's complete historical database. 50 million years of galactic civilization, showing that the harvest cycles have actually increased warfare and suffering, not decreased it. The Devourer's own actions contradict their programming." As Marcus prepared to leave, reports came in from the main battle. Alliance losses were mounting, but they were holding the line. "Admiral," Park called out, "Commander Zeth reports that enemy reinforcements are arriving. The Alliance fleet can't hold much longer." Harrison watched Marcus enter the alien command center through their view screen. The fate of 23 civilizations now rested on one human xenorchaeologist's ability to outsmart a synthetic intelligence older than their sun. Minutes ticked by agonizingly slowly. Then suddenly the enemy fire stopped. "What's happening?" Harrison demanded. Torres checked his sensors. "Sir, the entire Devourer fleet has ceased operations. They're just floating there." Through the communication system, they heard Marcus's voice. "It worked. Their central AI has accepted the logical proof that the harvest contradicts their core programming. They're shutting down the entire operation." Across the battlefield, the massive Devourer ships began to power down. Some self-destructed. Others simply went dark and began drifting in space. "Admiral," Park said with wonder in her voice, "we're receiving transmissions from all Alliance ships. The Devourers are retreating from every system." Harrison allowed himself a moment of relief before opening a channel to the Alliance fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Harrison. The harvest cycle has been broken. After 50,000 years, the galaxy is finally free. As humanity's first interstellar war ended in victory, Harrison looked out at the stars and realized that this was not an ending, but a beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and challenges that 23 allied civilizations would face together. The age of galactic cooperation had begun. The end